Welcome back to another episode of Fisher's Freight Coach's Corner. I am the broadcast voice of the Freight, Andrew Smith, joined by the head coach of the Fisher's Freight, Dixie Wooten. The Freight 4-1 on the season after a 40-38 road win in Tulsa on Saturday night. And they're back to the road this week to take on the Iowa Barnstormers for the second time this year. That game will be in Des Moines at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Saturday evening. Coach, congratulations on the win, a 5-1 start. And anytime you can go on the road and win, it's a good thing. But describe how the guys went down to Tulsa on Saturday, had to weather a little bit of adversity in the first half, and then, as you've done so much this season, just seized control of the game after halftime.
Playing on the road is always tough, especially in Tulsa. They had like 8,000, 9,000 fans there, so it was loud. Tulsa is a great team. They got a great quarterback. They coached up good by Marvin Jones. So we knew it was going to be a tough battle. We jumped out early in the first quarter, but I knew for a fact that Tulsa was going to make a run, and they did. They came back and took the lead at the halftime. But, again, we went in and made the adjustments we had to make, and we was able to pull it off in the second half.
Well, we're 5 weeks in now. You've played 4 of your 6 division foes so far, and you're 4-1. You're tied for the division lead. What have you liked about your team 5 weeks into the season as we get into that second quarter of the year?
So Andrew, they're getting better and better every day. The thing like about my team is after we have meetings like football meetings, they have meetings on their own going over the same schemes and things like that. So that's always a positive where your guys get together and have meetings, player meetings to go over the scheme and understand what they're doing. So the thing I like the most about my team is how they get along, how they have fun together, but also how they study together.
And that's always key because now it's almost like they're helping each other develop that
Right.
sixth sense as to knowing where each other's going to be on the field, what they want to do when they see a certain coverage on offense or when an opposing team's offense shows you something. And how important is that just chemistry on the field that they're developing off the field on their own, away from the staff, and just in the apartments and being together day by day?
It's great. I feel great about it because at the end of the day, a coach can only coach. But if a player believes in the system, he understands the scheme, and they work together in the scheme, that's what makes us great. Now these guys know that, okay, they can communicate on the field. Like my defense, they did a great job of communicating all night. And it was fun watching them because they start having more success as they communicate. So they got better and better as the night goes. So I'm proud of my guys because they know at the end of the day, they take responsibility of the team being good by those guys being good.
Well, as well, the reality is injuries are part of football, and you've been missing some key guys the last couple weeks. You haven't had Jaden Rowe available, haven't had Isaiah Coulter available the last couple weeks, but it's been next man up. Didn't have Josiah King Saturday night. Dominic Roberto takes on a bigger role and has a fantastic game. You've had Jordan Davis step in at wide receiver and played really well in Isaiah Coulter's stead. You've had multiple defensive backs step up, and just describe that next man up philosophy and the depth that you've built where if you lose a guy, you can plug somebody else in and they're going to produce just as much as the guy that they're replacing.
So it starts at practice. These guys buy in to everything that we do. They let us. The fun part is, Andrew, they let me coach them hard. And never take it personal. So that they're able to learn everything that we have to do. But the big thing about it is they all meet together. Can't say that enough. They meet together, so they all on the same page. So when one guy goes down, the next man take his place, and they fall right where they're supposed to be because they all study together and they know each other and they understand where they're going to be at all times.
Early in the season, you had a rough start against Green Bay. You rallied
Yeah.
back, weren't able to completely finish the comeback. This week, you deal again with a little bit of adversity. Had 3 consecutive empty possessions in the second quarter, trailed at halftime, got the lead. They got it right back on a touchdown. They scored a rouge as well, and all of a sudden you're back down 5. But just felt like from there, you didn't waver. You made a couple of plays. You scored, you retook the lead. It just felt like you seized control of the game from there. It just described the way these guys, the resilience, and maybe what they learned from that Green Bay game that helped them deal with the trailing in the second half and the little bit of adversity in Tulsa on Saturday night.
So with the Green Bay game, Andrew, like just falling down early, I feel like at the end of the day, we thought we was better than what we were, Andrew. We came off a big win against Quad City, and we came in thinking that hey, we just got to just play football. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. We had a few turnovers early and things like that, and it put us behind the eight ball. So in this game right here, we understood from the beginning. We preached about it all week long that hey, as soon as adversity hit, you got to slow down and think and understand what you're doing, and you got to go through it. So we put more emphasis on being in a situation like that more than the Green Bay game. So I think we all learned from the Green Bay game, even me as a coach. I saw a little complexity after the Quad City game, and I didn't say nothing about it. But this game here, we said something about it every time. So when the second half came, my guys stepped up and did what they had to do to make sure we got that win.
Give you a chance to brag on the guys up front again. You have always emphasized running the football, but
Absolutely.
the last couple weeks, 182 rushing yards, then last week 176 yards against a good Tulsa defense, and you're doing that without one of your running backs. So Dominic Roberto's taking on a little bit more of the role. Felix Harper, really good in the quarterback running game and the read option game with Dominic. Just describe how good you guys are blocking up front, how you're able to control the game because you're able to run the football.
Absolutely. Running the football is what we do, Andrew, and it starts with our O-line. Sharp is our anchor in the middle at center, and then we got Donaldson and Simmons, man. What they do is they believe in the scheme, and they roll graders, man. When they get low and they drive people out the lanes and give our running backs great lanes, and our receivers, don't forget about our receivers when it comes to blocking as well. Those guys, JT Stokes, Isaiah Coulter, CJ Wyndham, those guys do a great job of blocking. Like we watched film today, and the holes that our running backs are running through on the first and second level are huge because of our blocking.
That's something that I think is often overlooked in football is the importance of your receivers
Right.
as blockers and just being unselfish. They're going to get their catches, but they're being unselfish in driving people off the ball and creating lanes. And a lot of times that's setting the edge that turns maybe a 2-yard gain into a 30-yard gain. And how important is that to be able to have essentially all 7 guys involved in blowing people off the football so that your running backs have lanes to run through?
Yeah, Andrew, man, it feels great. At the end of the day, my receivers can be crying about not catching the ball, not doing this, but they excited when they give a block and the running back score. They the first ones in the end zone celebrating with the running back. So they're having pride in blocking as well because again, early in the season, you want to set the tone for your team being physical. And my receivers bought in to be physical. So, with the offensive line blocking, with the receivers blocking, with the running backs blocking hard. Also, like a JT Stokes, he's part of the running game too. He broke for a 27-yard touchdown against Tulsa as well. So, everybody is bought into the run game. But, it's going to be a team that try to stop the run. And we do have some of the best receivers in the league as well. So we can do both. But the run is just, what we're doing now.
When you're blowing guys off the ball, how much of a charge does that give your linemen and just give them that little extra juice on the next play where we're going to do this again and just continue to wear you down by leaning on you for 60 minutes?
Absolutely. They love it. That's why you see the first play of the game was a quarterback power, and we ended up scoring a touchdown off of it. When we scored that on the first play of the game, they was ready to go. So that's why we run the ball like we do. We believe in the run. You can stop us for a negative gain. We guess we're gonna still run the football. We believe in it. We trust it. We make sure we understand it. It's our identity. We believe in physicality around here, and we run the ball. That shows who we are.
I think beyond that, that allows you to throw the football when you want to,
Absolutely.
rather than when you have to. And how much more effective does that make it? Because Felix is completing 71% percent of his passes right now. And the last couple of weeks, I think he has 2 total incompletions in those games. And because of that, your offense has been able to click.
And that's the great thing. Like the last couple of games, Felix had threw probably eight. The most is eight passes, but he's having 3 touchdowns. He's having 4 touchdowns. Things like that. Against Tulsa, he was huge on the run game. He had like 18 carries for almost 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So what Felix brings to our offense is he make us balance, but also he make all the throws when he have to. But if we need him in the run game, he runs the football pretty good too. So when we run the ball like we do, they try to bring people in up, and guess what? We throw on the bum to JT over the top, and we separate out stuff like that as well.
Describe the versatility of JT Stokes. He's very good, as you mentioned, over the top, can be a deep threat for you, but also he can be a game breaker in the running game, essentially as a change of pace back and a decoy as you crisscross your running backs in the backfield. And how much of a weapon has he been? He's one of those guys, he's been here since day one. And how much of a weapon is he both in the passing game and in the running game?
He's our star. He's our utility guy. He's our everything. He's our leader. Once he step in the huddle, he's the one doing the talking. He make our guys believe in everything that we do. I've had JT for the last couple of years. We won a championship in Bay Area as well. So he know how to win, but he know the system and he know how to work hard in it. So that's why we have him everywhere. We have him blocking. We have him on every special teams. We have him catching the deep ball. We have him running the ball. It's nothing that I can't ask him to do and he won't do it 100%.
And how big was he on Saturday? He had 2 big play touchdowns in the fourth quarter to help you guys maintain that lead and essentially put the game away.
He was huge, man. When it come down to it, you'll never see him blocking, but he probably have like 3 or 4 pancakes a game. He always blocked the biggest guys. He always go block the linebacker. He always blocked the strong safeties. But then you put him in the run game, and he came in. It was 1-on-1 with him and number 7 from Tulsa in the hole. He ran over him and bounced and ran a 27-yard touchdown. And also on 4th and 2, he ran a hitch and go and caught a big one-hand catch in the end zone for a big time touchdown. So when we need somebody to come through for us in the clutch, it's always JT.
Callum Sutherland, I don't know if you can say more about him. He's had a deuce in every game this season. And Saturday night, you win by 2 points. That deuce ended up becoming essentially the margin of victory. Describe the weapon he is and the difficulty. You're hitting a 58-yard field goal through goalposts that are 10 feet wide, essentially, and he's doing it every single week.
He's huge, man. Getting him last year, he was one of them guys that never lost in Fishers. Didn't know what it felt like. So now he's on a whole different level. I feel like he's on a UFL NFL level. He's making all his extra points. He's kicking big time field goals, and the dudes, like you said, that's a 58-yard field goal. He's hitting it every game. So he's putting us, like, again, when we blew teams out at home. He's scoring 14 points as a kicker. So that's huge. But also we get on the road and he kicking a deuce and his kickoffs are amazing. He's always putting people in the back of the wall, or he got good dribble kicks. He always putting other offenses in a bad situation. So right now I feel like if it's for special teams, he will be the special team player of the year, but easy by far.
Talk about your defense. And against Iowa a couple of weeks ago, Robideau was able to make some plays on 3rd down, but you got him at 3rd and long enough where you were able to get a few stops and allow you to pull away in that game. But again, last week against Tulsa, they're 2 for 6 on 3rd down. And then when you got them at 4th down, they weren't able to convert those 4th downs. And the ability to get stops and string stops together, especially there in that second half when you were able to take the lead. Describe how you're able to get teams into 3rd down and then get off the field when you get them into 3rd down.
Andrew, again, my defense is getting better and better every week. Last week, the game in Tulsa, the first 3 possessions, we got 3 stops. We and that's huge. The quarterback broke, and when our guys came and knocked the ball out of his hand, made him fumble on one of the possessions, and the other possession we got 4 and out. So these guys, they starting to understand what they see on the football field, man. At the end of the day, you got to have a defense that's strong. Top four to be in the championship game. And these guys kind of understand that by the stats that they're putting up. And then again, they just Tulsa just scored, almost like 50 points and 7 touchdowns against Orlando. We go to their building and our defense put a show on, and show people that we're here to play some defense as well, other than run the football. So at the end of the day, defense came to play. They got the stops that we needed, and that was a big part of us winning that football game.
And Donnie Lewis with an interception for the second consecutive week. Had a beautiful pick six against Iowa, but got that pick last week. And when you win the turnover battle, you're going to win a lot of football games. And how big was that interception?
It was huge because it was one of those third down plays where we went man and he played great coverage. The quarterback threw it over on a corner route, and he was there to pick it off, man. So that was huge. That was another stop to get us off the field. That was the stop that we was down by. I think we was up by 4. And then we got the ball and we was able to score. Now we up 2 possessions. So that pick was huge for us.
And your secondary was going to be tested. TJ Edwards is a very good quarterback, and he was slinging it. And I think 49 plays, he threw it 37 times. And those guys are going to be tested. But talk about, Devin Williams had a huge game, keeping the ball in front of him, making tackles. And we mentioned Donnie Lewis with the play that he made, the interception. C.J. Parrish had 5 tackles, had a couple of pass breakups as well. And Marcus Gray continues to do what Marcus Gray does, which is just control things in the middle of that safety position. But describe how your secondary played against a good quarterback to be able to get enough stops. And obviously, as we mentioned with the Donnie Lewis pick, they throw enough, you're going to get your hands on one, and you were able to do that there.
So it was huge. One thing about it is they recognize for formations all night. And one thing in this game, you have to know where receivers are. And they did a great job of it. So when we was in played our zone defense, we make those guys throw check downs and we made tackles. And then in the second half, we went all man. I challenged my guys, hey, well, look, we got to lock these guys up so we can bring pressure. We played man the whole second half, and they did a great job of making sure they was right with that man on every play. And we was able to hit the quarterback probably like 10 by 10, 11 times. We only sacked him once, but we got a lot of hits on him. But it was because of our secondary. Our secondary played great defense. It was Andrew, was one point where they ran like 7 plays on the goal line because the defensive backs, they did a great job in their coverage on the goal line.
And that starts as well. You took the running game away, and you've done that the last couple of weeks. Force them to be one-dimensional. Once you do that, Darius, Jalen, Nick Lennon up front, and Trey Smalls and Cornelius is your linebacker. Is that an opportunity for them to just pin their ears back and pressure the quarterback and make things difficult? Because you certainly don't want to let a guy like TJ Edwards or the guy you're going to see Saturday night, Harry Robideau, be able to stand back there and have time to find his receivers.
Absolutely. That's our motto right here, Andrew. Like you gotta stop the run so you can earn the rush to passer. We believe in making you one-dimensional. We want to make you one-dimensional as soon as possible. With Tulsa, we played the run. Our run fits was solid, and they had to throw the football because every time they ran the ball, other than the quarterback, it was a 1-yard gain here, a 0 tackle for loss there. So we was able to get a lot of hits on them because we made them throw the football, and that again. That's our motto. Our team did a great job of making us stick to what we do. We stopped the run early so we can play the pass late.
Something you did against Iowa a couple of weeks ago. Now you're seeing them again. Now we're getting into that second time through where you're going to face Iowa this week, Green Bay next week for the second time as well. And how much of this is now going back, watching film, seeing what they did, and anticipating the adjustments they're going to make to what you did and playing that essentially that cat and mouse game with Andre Coles this week to adjust to their adjustments and be ready for Saturday night?
Yeah, it's always hard playing somebody the second time. They know exactly what we did to win the game, and sometimes teams go in and do the same thing because they feel like that's the answer. But we know Coles is a great coach. He's been a winning coach in this league, so he understands how to go in and watch film and understand how to stop things that you do good. So we're gonna throw some different wrinkles in. We're gonna throw some different plays in because at the end of the day, we're going on the road, and it's hard it's hard to win a road game in the IFL, Andrew. So, we got to go back to the basics. We got to make sure we understand that, our run fits because, again, they can switch both of their quarterbacks in and out. We got to make sure we're in the right coverage because, again, we gave up two deep touchdowns to these guys early. So we got to make sure that we got that ready to go. But at the end of the day, playing the team twice, that's really tough.
What are your keys for Saturday night's game in Des Moines?
Just offensively, just make sure we don't turn the football over. When you win the turnover battle, you will always have a chance to win the game. And defense, getting stops early. We want to get two or three stops early. Now, when we get stops early, our offense and score early. Guess what? Now teams are playing from behind, and we are a tough team to play behind from. So we take care of the football on offense. We stop the run. We take some takeaways away early, and we Sutherland just keep kicking the ball like he kicking it. We'll be good for a win.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
Appreciate it, Andrew. Thank you.
And thank you for watching this edition of Fisher's Freight Coach's Corner with the head coach of the Freight, Dixie Wooten. The Freight on the road this Saturday night in Iowa, 8 o'clock kickoff. That'll be on Yahoo Sports. And we look forward to seeing you back at the Fishers Event Center on May 2nd when the Green Bay Blizzard visit the Fishers Freight. All your ticket information at fishersfreightfootball.com. Until next time, this is Andrew Smith saying so long, everybody. Thanks for watching Fisher's Freight Coach's Corner.